Recording is on.
Oh, we're recording now. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we will be recording, and we are. Welcome everybody.
It's 5-2.
Yep.
Yep, we will get started in 8 minutes. At which time, Ashley, you will get a better grasp of what we're doing and what our vision and mission statement is. So,
Yeah,
we
more
are
than-
doing big things, and we hope that, you know, and most people that hear what we're doing are like, "Holy shit! How can I be part of this?"
Yeah.
So definitely something to look forward to.
I'm excited. I'll sit back for a while and observe and get a grasp of what's going on, and I might jump in and be like, I can do big things too. And then that's that. So
We can already tell that you're going to be doing big things, Ashley.
been doing big things. I just live under a rock. I'm remotely doing big things for the
You know, the biggest
I'm
thing that you can
hibernating.
do, the biggest thing you can do is live, you know, your most authentic you, bring that to the surface and be it completely. You know, that's the biggest thing you can do, even if you're living under a rock.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really. It's an expression, but
I know what you're saying. I'm also
every
living
now
under a
and
rock.
then
I prefer
I out and I do a little dance and I confuse a bunch of people and then I go back home.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I prefer hermit mode unless I'm intentionally coming out into the public.
Yes, that is the way. I can't do intentionally out into the public all the time. That's not. I need no. Nope.
No.
Nope.
So you're like us, where at home, you know, we're pretty chill, and then when we go out in public, we try to embarrass other people by embarrassing ourselves, which is actually impossible because we're comfortable with ourselves, and then other people just get embarrassed because they feel our emotion, and then they reflect upon themselves, and then they get embarrassed. That's one of my favorite things to do, anyhow.
Maybe not embarrassment. I think what I aim for is. I'm not sure the word for it, but it's not embarrassment. I'm not trying to embarrass others.
Yeah, we're all about the meeting of the minds here. We're, you know, Tony was just cracking a joke. In reality, we want everyone to feel welcome, and you know, we're all just about where's that common denominator? Where's the point that we all meet, right? And then let's build upon that.
Yeah. I'm all about it.
Yep, those divide and conquer schemes are a thing of the past. We need to definitely unite and free people as much as possible.
Well, this 100% falls in line with recent alignments and shifts that are occurring. I'm not going to detail with that because I'm overwhelmed by it myself.
Yep, we already know.
It seemed appropriate for me to jump into this thing that I had no idea what's going on, and now I'm like, oh shit!
Yeah, you're with your tribe. That's what happened. Your tribe called you from the from the other realms.
Oh, I've got
another dimension.
ET phone homes going on all the time in my head. I just gotta pick and choose and prioritize what I'm able to chime in with at the time. If I can't, then I'll get another call from similar. You know, it never ends.
One giant synchronicity, huh?
Synchronicity is
synchronicity.
I like synchronicity. I thought about schnozberries.
I like both. I think both have their names. I don't know if I've defined synchronicity yet. It's something that's a bit obscure to me, but I can resonate with it. I could feel it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey everybody. Sorry, my volume was down. Did you guys do the introduction and everything?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet, brother. We got 4 minutes and we'll get
4
started.
minutes.
Just give anyone else a chance to hop on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Jim,
see,
we were just... Yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, I was going to say hi to Dennis. I believe Dennis hopped in the wild card.
Yep. And Mr. James, we were just talking about, we didn't know whether or not you had to shove Bitcoin into a pickle jar or if pennies would be okay, or like, how do you get the pickles to visit you? How do you procure pickles?
I mean,
You need to
I
pay
think
them.
Bitcoin would probably catch the attention of the pickle giver, but
Oh, okay.
good question. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I know what would repel pickles would be that one thing that you bite down on over and over to accentuate your jawline. That would probably repel it. So let's stay away from that.
Okay, gotcha. Check. Loud and clear,
Check.
brother.
Check 1, 2.
A pickle repellent?
Oh,
What?
Yeah, pickle
it's an
repellent.
insight. this is
Yeah,
straight
pickle
inside
repellent.
stuff, Ashley. We don't expect you to understand this one. This is straight us just having a little laugh before we get started. However, we have Jennifer and I'm just Janai, every time Jen and
Mr.
Jennifer.
Nye.
Yeah, it's Shania.
Miss Janai. So Ashley, your homies are on.
I see that.
These are my homies now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some Hawaiian.
Y'all
homies.
talk amongst yourselves.
I am dead tired. I doubt if I'll do much talking tonight, but you never know. Thank you, Rumi.
The past
Well, we're gonna
3
get
days-
that group.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just. She said
No, I was saying
she was tired, and I
the
was
delay.
saying,
The delay.
There is a delay. Yeah, there's a little lag there, so I'm not intentionally interrupting.
No.
No, I
Same.
was going to comment on the tired. The past 3 days, I've had maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night with the increasing. I don't know. Shit's wobbling. I'm handling it. It's okay. The sleep deprived is
What did you say? Increasing what globulin?
I don't know. Shit's wobbling.
Oh,
It's
shit's
wobbling.
wobbling.
Things are getting wobbly.
I
It's
was like,
weird.
what kind of globulin is she taking? What's
There's
going
an
on?
increasing wobble.
In
You
the atmosphere, as it were, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay on my feet.
Things are opposing. There's a lot of opposing energy here between the Mars and the what is it? Let's see. Pluto out of Capricorn into Mars is in Taurus. No, Mars is in Leo.
Uh-oh.
And then you have Pluto just moved into Taurus from Capricorn. So there's a lot of really great stuff, but then also a lot of opposing butting of heads and warring.
Hey,
warring
that's why we're here.
I've been trying to understand. I'm not really.
That's why we're here.
we really do. We embrace that paradox.
Yeah,
we love it. We love it. We love that that necessary conflict in a peaceful way that brings about that real change that we're all seeking, which is ultimately just that change that happens within,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm raging a little bit. My Leo moon is feeling that freaking ego. I'm getting frustrated right and left the last 3 days.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's where it's at right there.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation time.
Ask my roommate, poor thing. She's so sweet.
Put your cape on, Janai.
Put my cape on. Sounds like a good.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I hope the wifey over here is listening while she cuts up this mango.
Send some mango. Send some mango, Hanakokalele peanut butter jelly.
All right, everyone. 7:05. We will get rolling here. So, welcome to Trust Medicine People's Visionary Gathering. And depending on where you are, good morning, afternoon, or evening. And thank you for being here today. It is truly a privilege to gather with like-minded individuals as part of the Trust of Medicine People community, a space where purpose, healing, and empowerment take center stage. At Trust Medicine People, our mission is rooted in fostering holistic freedom and transformation. Through the Manumission Papers, we've introduced hybrid trusts that not only offer financial security and growth, but also provide the foundation for spiritual edification. These trusts are designed to help individuals uncover and live out their true purpose, empowering them to thrive in all aspects of life. Along with that, we specialize in credit repair and business funding, recognizing that the critical role that the financial wellness plays in personal and collective empowerment. By helping individuals and businesses access the resources they need, we pave the way for greater opportunities and long-term success. Looking forward to the future, we are committed to creating healing sanctuaries, sacred spaces where ancient plant medicines and traditional healing modalities blend with modern techniques to facilitate deep personal transformation. These sanctuaries will serve as hubs for healing, reflection, and growth, embodying our belief in the power of reconnection to the earth, to the community, and to one's inner self. Furthermore, as part of our global vision, we are collaborating with green tech partners to establish self-sustained and regenerative permaculture systems in underserved and third world areas. By integrating advanced green technology with traditional agricultural methods, we aim to restore ecosystems, uplift communities, and create pathways to sustainable living for future generations. So this gathering is more than a meeting, it's a step towards creating a world that reflects our shared values of trust, healing, and regenerative growth. Together, we're building a future where purpose and empowerment meet global impact. So welcome everyone to Trust Medicine People, where your journey to liberation, healing, and contribution begins. So let's go ahead and get started. Yossi, if you want to throw your disclaimer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tony Oz. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, James. Thank you, Carter, for all of your hard work in reaching as many people as possible and helping people really actualize their dreams. You know, it's often said that if you can align your passion with your work, you will be successful. And I think that is specifically why we've been successful, guys. You know, when you really believe in something and you work in service for others, you know, you get the rewards just flow in every day, you know, through smiles on people's faces, through, you know, genuine laughter at relief that people have. That's some of the best and most rewarding stuff that money can't buy. So I really appreciate you guys, you know, just starting off. That being said, guys, here's the disclaimer. We're not lawyers. We're not financial advisors. We don't have any certificates. We don't claim to be able to do anything that a lawyer or a CPA or the like can do. By the same token, here's our claim. Our claim is we claim all natural and unalienable rights granted to us by our Creator. Everything that is under the sun came from one spark, and we're all a reflection of that. That being said, we like to keep these as free-flowing as possible, these meetings. There is a certain amount of structure to it simply because they are recorded, and we do have partners in high and low places that would really appreciate to be able to listen to these recordings. And we're also, you know, recording them for posterity so that you can also go back if there's anything that inspires you, or if you need to review something, feel free to drop us a line. Just, you know, a simple text to Tony or myself is enough to initiate a conversation. And no matter where you're at on your path, this is a point A to point Z process and system that we've developed, and network that we've tapped into. We work with some of the best in the industry, in no matter what that industry is. So yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining the call.
Thank you, brother Yossi. Wonderful as always. We appreciate you so much, my man. And I know that's speaking for everybody here. So we'll along with that structure, we like to have kind of a main subject each night, a little different that we touch base upon, and then maybe some micro subjects off of that. And then what we like to do is open it up to more of that open mic style where we can all you know, get to know each other and you know, dig deeper into wherever the flow takes us. So yeah, like Yossi said, a little bit of structure, and then more of that meeting of the minds where we can all just run with that river. So I believe James had a main subject here we'd like to touch base on tonight. So James, go ahead. I'll let you take the floor.
All right. So once again, I'm thankful to be with you know, the Trust Medicine people and working closely with them. There are a lot of questions that we all have. The point of these meetings here, these open mics are to ask questions. We want people to engage. We want people to be involved and feel that they have, the freedom to ask these questions and get proper answers. So I like to start off the meetings typically just by asking one question, and that could divert to anything. But my question is, Yosi, so what is a social security number, and why are we being traded on the open market like cattle?
What a great question, bro. I'm, on some level, sometimes I wish that I was prepared for these questions, like you'd prompt me, but I know that I've told you that I'd prefer the freestyle method. On the most organic level, I do like to be surprised. So, yeah, let's dive right into it, man. Let's burn that straw man. The Social Security number is essentially the second part of an implied contract that was created with the birth certificate. Now, when you were born or birthed into this world of commerce, your part of your biological material, provided that you were born in a traditional hospital, was kept. It was taken from the mother, and it was used either for stem cell research or whatever grants came through for that specific hospital. That's usually how that biological material was used. Now, because that biological material is technically dead, you are issued a certificate at that time to be able to represent the value of it and the projected value of what the living being could potentially, as an employee, let's say, could earn for the company that is the United States of America. So it's the first thing that syncs you up with that Social Security number. Now, once you reach the age of maturation and you've essentially come into your own and you are of your own volition, you are capable of signing a document and requesting a identification number for that corporation. Now, there's what's called the SESTA QV entity, and we can drill into that as much as possible and as much as you guys need to as we go, or as little as you need to. For some people, it's not really an issue, or they pretty much just get the gist of it and they don't need to know the details. But for those who do need to know the details, feel free to ask questions. The Social Security number. When you sign for your Social Security number and that Social Security card, you're essentially creating the acquiescence, the agreement through signatory adhesion to that implied contract, that you agree with it and that you are an employee, in fact, of that de facto United States of America government, which is essentially just a corporation. And because of that, this is all backed by insurance policies. So every IMF nation, including the United States, is backed by two major insurance companies up at the top. And those insurance companies require a certain amount of underwriting for their employees who have insurance policies pulled out on them by the government / corporation that created those policies. So essentially, to boil that down, the United States of America, as a corporation, it has taken out insurance policies on each and every one of your heads and collateralized you and chattelized you as part of a process of securing their debt and putting you up for the full faith and credit for any future debt that they have. Did that answer the question, buddy?
So, can you define full faith and credit?
Full faith and credit. Well, let's look right. I don't have my Black's Law in front of me. I usually play the fifth with these. I go right to the fifth edition of Black's Law. But in this one, let's just break this down with logic. What does the word full mean, Mr. Carter?
Complete or whole is what I would think.
Complete or whole. Complete or whole. So, whole. Right. So complete or whole. And faith. What is faith?
Well, Well, I guess to me that would be to some degree kind of like trust.
Ah, there you go. Well, it could be that in the "in God we trust" that was created, right? It's technically the quote unquote "in God we" and then trust. It's the name "in God we" is the name of a trust. So that's your faith right there, is in that trust. So for the complete faith, meaning leveraging this into that trust, what is credit?
Well, credit's like you kind of like you get paid before you do something, so it's kind of like you know you're trusted to do something.
Right.
You kind of
Yep.
around. Yeah.
Yep. There's that word again though, trust, right?
Cred,
So through
cred
that.
is belief, right? Oh, sorry.
No, please. That's why we're here.
Isn't cred or creed is that means belief,
There
doesn't
you
it?
go.
It's like a
There you go.
contract.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're talking about trust and belief here, right? Trust and belief, which is essentially the thing that the entire monetary system and the entire system of not only enslavement, but any kind of bureaucratic control on paper over paper entities that are essentially just fictitious representations of living flesh and blood woman and man, right? So we're talking about here trust and belief. So the full faith and credit, full trust, full belief that we as quote unquote Americans or employees of this corporation, that we do have a specific value associated with our lifetime of work and sweat, right? Now that can be averaged out, and actuaries have done a great job of coming up and boiling down what these figures actually mean. And at its base, guys, this is an insurance contract that we're talking about. I hear a lot of people out there, especially gurus, talking about how insurance is bunk and nonsense and whatever. And, anytime anybody's making any kind of broad statements, beware, because they probably don't know what they're talking about. And they're probably acting or communicating from a space of emotion rather than an actual, logical deduction based on facts and evidence. So what we love to do here is really break out the etymology dictionary like Ashley just did. Right. What is creed? What is the root of the word actually mean? Because we're dealing in a world where while contract law is the law of the land, what that essentially means is that necromancy is the law of the land, because we're dealing with dead entities that can only move through paper, and living entities need to move that paper around. And whenever you come in this world of commerce up against an entity that cannot put a living signature behind any of its claims because it's represented by bar attorneys or somebody that's essentially just an agent of that entity, you're dealing with something that's a ghost for all intents and purposes. And that's your leverage point in the world of commerce, at least.
Thank you. I was never able to. I can see that now. Thank you for explaining that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for contributing and breaking that down. That's the most important thing. Is we're taught so much what to think, and the one thing we weren't taught is how to think. And once we can unlearn what to think and learn very quickly and proficiently how to think, that's when all of the golden nuggets come to the surface. It becomes simpler as you go. This world that we're in of the private and the public, what we find is that while you can access a lot of funding and you can do a lot of great things through that public side entity, what you can't do is be certain about anything that you're doing. And, you know, it always comes down to some kind of liability that's at stake when you're working through the public. Whereas on the private side, that liability is removed because you've defined the terms and conditions of the contract, as well as who or who you won't show that contract to.
Hmm.
Could you just briefly give a quick example of who you would and wouldn't show that contract to, like as simplistic as you could?
Sure. Say I have an arrangement with somebody, and you know, it's hard to come up with examples off the top of my head, but
Right.
I'm just going to say
Like maybe
there's
in
some
a business model or a like
business
you've got,
model.
okay, let's just say
You come up with the example. I'll break it down.
So in a business model, what basically, because I'm still trying to grasp a lot of this, is that you're saying that if you produce this piece of paper, right? Piece of paper. I guess I'm just asking, like, to give an example of what you. Please forgive me if I'm fading in and out too, because
Please.
I also am
Please
underslept.
feel free to use whatever language you have to communicate it. And then once I grok it, I'll try to break it down in legalese and then try to simplify it.
Like I was thinking, like if somebody were, you know, like if you're trying to, what would be an example of when you would have to produce this?
So that's the whole thing right there, right?
Okay.
We lean very, yes, ma'am. We lean very heavy on religious exemptions.
Okay.
You know, the founding fathers of any nation state, especially any IMF related country, right? All of them were either farmers or they were church people, right? So there are always going to be either religious or agricultural exemptions built into any of the framework that they have for governance.
Thank you.
Now, because of that, we all know that while we're not all farmers, right, we all have a connection to our creator, whether we're, you know, it's all at varying degrees. And your connection could simply be, hey, when I listen to people intently, with the you know, wanting to know what's on their mind and wanting to let them get it out, that not only are they healed, but I'm healed, and through that I see God. That could be as simple as that's my religion right there. Or when I walk through the forest, and I come across a tree and I see a bird go through and I'm thinking about you know, something, and that bird gives me a sign and it resonates within, because it's so beautiful and I appreciate it and it brings me to that place. That's my religion. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a man on a cross. It doesn't have to be you know, any based on any kind of historical text, right? It doesn't, that's not what's required to have a religion. A religion can be a religion of one. A nation can be a nation of one. It just has to be based on something that's sincerely held, meaning in your heart. If somebody brought you up onto the stand and said, explain to me, what is your religion? That you could actually, you know, without having to think or look at notes, you can let them know. This is what I believe. This is how I stand. And yeah, I do believe that the contract that I have with my creator supersedes your contract and any other man-made bullshit contracts that you can come up with, right? As long as you can get into that space, then you know, you can rock and roll with this.
Right.
There are many people who have disappeared into the private and who are living great lives. You know, some of them prefer to, you know, race speedboats and horses, because that's where, you know, that's where their opulence is. Some of us, you know, like myself, my wife, like we prefer rescuing animals and doing whatever we can to be able to, you know, living on a homestead and doing whatever we can. Or, you know, my religion is very centered around what I'm doing right now, talking to you, empowering people. You know, helping is hurting. I don't like helping people, but I love empowering people. Empowering people feeds me, but helping people, you know, not so much.
That's a very helpful statement. And that's one of the first things I heard you say that made like total sense, you know, to me, as far as not only because a lot of times my question has been in my life how to help people, air quotes, and right, I often make fun of myself. I'm helping, and I put my fingers up because usually I'm making a disaster out of things. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's you know we were helping some children in Uganda through an orphanage, and that while they still require that help because listen, these children are withering away, and every meal that we can provide for them is a meal that will sustain them and kick it back another day. But at the same time, you know, we need other people to pick up that slack so that my partners and I can actually do something to empower them by getting them keyhole gardens, by getting them actual, you know, ways of filtering water and living so that they can be not only sustainable, but so that they can thrive. You know, we don't want to turn people who are hungry into people who are just living hand to mouth. We want to make sure they're thriving and that they can continue to take on more orphans, right? So that's the difference between helping and empowering. Helping is sending them corn and rice and stuff that feeds parasites. And again, you know, while it's necessary in the short term, long term, it is not a solution. It will not solve anything.
You mean
It'll only put a
I can't
Band-Aid.
go and cook a bunch of fufu? Like, because that's really what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you were there, if you went over there, if we get you a ticket and you fly over there and you're going to be their private cook and you know, you're going to cook for them. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Rock and roll.
Let's have some starch.
Right. But I will never discourage anyone from helping. I'm just saying that helping is hurting. I'm never going to discourage you from hurting either. Because, you know, it's all part of the ebb and flow.
Yeah, and I would say the sunlight, honestly, with all the sunlight that they can get out there, that the melanin, you know, will provide a lot of mitochondrial light. It'll absorb so much light for them that the diet will be secondary to their health, really.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just parasites that we're battling. Because if we got them some black walnut hull and some clove and some wormwood, and they drank a tea every day, those kids wouldn't be half as hungry. They'd actually be able to start fasting and gaining weight while they're fasting. Right. But it's all just this paradigm shift that we're involved in right now. And, you know, we're just doing our part to make sure that everybody can see that, you know, the thinking apparatus that we've been equipped with and blessed with as beings in these human suits is a definite double-edged sword, because when you stop thinking, you already know. But when you're thinking and you need to overthink, you become either ADHD or dependent on Adderall in order to be able to formulate a thought.
Palpitates like right?
No, exactly.
Just palpitating all over the place, trying to get everything done. And then I've got to remember to breathe, because, you know, how easily I fall right back into the same like stress response, you know.
Yeah. And that's the basic medicine right there. You know, breath is the primary medicine. The life force that sustains us is not food. It's not water. It's breath, 100%. And you can live off of the breath if you can learn to really accumulate and be able to actually digest breath in a way. I mean, look at the root of breathe. You know, aspire is to breathe. Spire, right? The spirit is breath. So you can live off of spirit forever, but food will only get you so far.
It's funny because last week there was a lot of alohas going around. So people are always like, oh, what's aloha? What does it mean? What is aloha? So alo is kind of to share in the togetherness, like we are all one kind of analogy, right? Alo means like all together, and ha is breath. So really, when Hawaiians and natives and Maoris, they put their heads together and they put their noses together and they breathe in, it translates to like, you know, we're breathing, we're sharing like this life. We're breathing in, like I breathe in you, you breathe in me, right?
Hey, aloha.
So a lot of aloha going around. So
aloha.
And think about ha, right? It comes from the diaphragm, right? When
it's breath-based.
That's right. It's breath-based. So
breath-based. That's right. The original languages were all breath-based.
Yeah. You can't digest without breath. You can't not think without breath. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yes, ma'am.
a same.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have said that, but you obviously know what
no, I mean that's what it is right there,
You're
right?
aware,
Once we
yes.
got away from the breath-based languages, and especially this language I'm communicating in right now, this English is a
Ugh.
business language, right? It's a business
The
language.
most
So there's
cursed
only
language that ever
cursed, correct? Yeah,
therefore
cursed,
was.
cursive. Yeah. No, really though. So it's
It
nearly
is.
impossible to actually convey the full grasp and the full breadth of what we're talking about. But I do my best, but only because, when I'm talking to you guys, when I'm at my best, I'm not here. It's only because I'm not here. The minute I start thinking is the minute that I start, you know what I mean?
Losing
It,
focus
yeah,
for me.
it doesn't
Let's see.
flow. It doesn't flow. We just open ourselves up. Spirit flows through. That's the thing, as long as we're not attached to it, take it as you will.
Yeah. So simple, yet so many people in my practice, the one thing that I start people on is breath work. And by the way, that TUMO, which is that I can't even think of the word. Does it stand for something?
Well,
Is that what you call it?
yeah. TUMO is essentially just we can get together on the back end and do a TUMO session.
Oh yeah,
And
I was doing it. I was going to tell you, very, very helpful. It was a breath work technique you recommended, 8 in
yes,
and
ma'am.
hold. And I was wondering as I was doing it, do you hold on the in or the out breath?
This is what I do. I
Mhm.
do now what's most important is that when you're breathing in, that belly button is being
Out.
extended as
That's
far
right.
out as possible, and that you're opening up the diaphragm. So you
It's a
want to kind of
balloon.
like lean back with the shoulders back and everything, get it real nice and tight. And then what's even more important is that exhale. When you exhale, the belly button is getting not only brought back toward the spine, but sucked in and up toward the heart.
That's when
And then
yeah.
and then what that does is it creates a vacuum. And what you'll find is that when you think you're done exhaling, you can always exhale more.
Mhm.
And when you exhale more, that vacuum that you create, if you just hold that and suck that in and lock your bandhas up a little bit, that you can start to massage your organs. And that process right there is very healing. But my personal practice is 8 as quick and deep breaths as possible, in and then out completely, and in and out 8 times. And on that 8th one, I hold it at the top as long as I can, and then I exhale as long as possible. And once I'm done exhaling, I bring in the stomach, I do the vacuum, and I hold that. And when you hold that, you're going to smell kind of like a burning smell. But then what you're going to notice is that it is one of the most transcendental and psychedelic experiences that you will ever have. But hold on to your chair, because if your body's not accustomed to the vibration or the frequency that you're experiencing, you could get a bit dizzy. But once you start doing it, it gets easier and easier and more rewarding to the point where you'll be at a traffic light. And well, myself, that's all I can speak for. And I'm doing breath work at a traffic light, rolling my belly like I'm a belly dancer and shit. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I actually
Yeah, I
told
mean,
my
that's the best
clients
time.
that the best time,
Yeah.
they're like, well, I don't have time. And I'm like, but the best time is like when you're doing dishes or when you're in your car. Like when I'm driving, that's like my meditation time. But it's not recommended if you're not already a deep breather because
Right, you don't want to be
God
blacking
forbid.
out behind the wheel, right?
Yeah. The first
Yeah.
time I did Wim Hof breathing, which I was doing the Tumo the other day, but I couldn't remember if you did like in breath, out breath, but you're kind of holding and pausing at both, and then you're re-sucking in and locking up everything.
Not for the first 8. For the first 8, I do them as quickly, as
correct,
efficiently,
but
and as completely.
at the end of the 8, there's a set. Yeah, got you.
Yep. And at the end of
first
the
time
8,
I did
it's
the Wim Hof hyperventilation, essentially, which got me to the same place. I actually was laying in bed and I did the Wim Hof, and by the 3rd hold, I just did a backflip into deep black void, and I was in the middle of the cube. I mean,
you went home.
I went right into the cube, and there I was watching myself as a holographic me, like just you would on a video where there's like an outline, it was like like a neon outline of me in the void in the box, but you could see the box and the person. Right.
Beautiful.
Like,
most people don't get there with 20 sessions of ayahuasca. So,
but I had
blessings
hippie
on
parents
that.
who meditated. My religion was Hindu temple, cows, the food. It was Christian rock and roll church. I had a much more eclectic upbringing. It wasn't pummeled into me. It was more like Ram Dass and Krishnamurti books and Castaneda everywhere. So
well, you must have done something great last time around to be able to be born into an opportunity like that.
Maybe
this might be your last lap. You never know.
I don't know. I'll have a story for another time, but one of my lyrics in my song, my mom wrote down sometimes what I was saying because she felt like it was coming from another place and that it was wisdom, and she probably had to write it down. So she had some foresight, which gave me some foresight or hindsight or whatever it is. It gave me some insight. And one of the lyrics to my song when I was like 2.5 was like, I'm stuck in this world and I can't get out. Right. So it's like, it's interesting. I might have it.
Yep. What we say, right? The way in is the way out.
The way out. Yeah.
Right. And the way out is the way in.
Man, that breath work is something. So yeah, thank you. I enjoyed that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Yossi, I have been recently, obviously, for me, when I'm working with my medicine, it comes in like it just shows me, hey, this is what you need to do. And recently, it's been a lot of that extreme exhaling.
Mm-hmm.
I had something come up, and it's at the top left of my sternum, and the medicine showed me that it's some unhealed trauma that I need to work through. And I've been doing it was like this big knot, like almost this big like cartilage bubble almost. It was just the weirdest thing. It just kind of came out of nowhere for no reason, but I know the reason. Working with the medicine, it was like this is some trauma that you have to heal. You have to work through, and you have to breathe it out. And as you're exhaling and as hard and as far as you can, your ho'oponopono, and you're apologizing to yourself, to anyone that you've wronged. You're forgiving yourself, and you're learning to love again. And as I'm doing these breath work exercises and working with the medicine, every time I do an exhale while in the medicine, and I speak my language, I'm working it out on every time. And it takes discipline, because to sit there and exhale as hard and as far as you can over and over, it's like, I mean, that's a workout. If anyone, Yossi, I know but that's a workout, man.
That's an ab workout right there.
But it
helps. It helps if you have an empty stomach.
Right. But it is definitely something that, because working with the medicine has brought these things to my attention and brought these things to the surface on the healing journey. And then integrating that breath, that type of breath work, has definitely made a huge difference, even in just the past week. The medicine has been helping me for a while, but now integrating the breath work within that, just,
like a rocket ship.
Dude, that combo is like, yeah, pew. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. That combo is the thing that blasts you up. Yeah, I often say that the medicine is always just tapping on your shoulder, trying to get you to connect with the breath. As soon as you can, like I've seen people in medicine ceremonies struggling, like, I'm dying on the path, laying right there in their own puke. And then I've seen people, just sit in full lotus with, hands pressed together, focused on their breath. And the breath is the one differentiation between those two experiences. And that, that is extrapolated into the world that we're in every single day. If you can control your breath, you can control your emotions. And if you can control your emotions, you can control your life.
powerful shit right there.
Yeah, fully agree, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the affirmation. And I know at some point when we're at our sanctuary and we're doing doing our ceremonies and everybody on this chat right now is with us, and we're all doing medicine, and we're all helping each other and working through our stuff. Yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Like I've told you, like my I love writing trusts, guys. It's being able to get somebody's heart print on paper, and then knowing that once they sign that piece of paper and they align with the mission, that they've just aligned with their dream. That's enough for me right there. If I didn't have to pay bills and stuff, I would do it for free. But the thing that comes right above that is breath work. And that is my major medicine. And anytime I take a plant, it's just because I need to connect back with that presence. And I know that when you're working with plants rather than in opposition to powders and pills are the band-aid that's helping. The plants are empowering. The plants will always get you to a point where you are like, why did I do this? And I am in hell right now. And then on the other side of that hell, you'll be like, wow, I never knew that bliss could be this blissful.
So would you say that, I mean, obviously you would say that the trust and this experience are related, and, certainly freeing your mind and,
yes,
getting
yes.
into your breath in order to have success, which is,
Oh yeah,
what's so
alignment comes first.
obvious. Right.
Yep, alignment has to come first. Action
I'm a
before
hot
alignment
mess.
is
I can't.
chasing. Yep, action before alignment's chasing your tail. You're like a monkey chasing its tail.
Oh,
But
man.
if you can just align first, it doesn't matter what act you take, because we all know that humans are fallible. We're all going to keep on fucking up. We're all going to continue making mistakes. That one thing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. But if you're aligned with presence, especially, and love in your heart, shit, give me any mistake. I don't care.
Spiritual
I'll weather the storm.
Right.
Yep, I'll weather the storm. No worries. And not only will I weather the storm, but I'm going to learn so much from that experience. So much.
Yeah.
Right.
I see where you're
that's
going
why.
with. Yeah.
Yep, that's why we're here. So that's why I always encourage people. I might sometimes sound like a broken record. Just get the trust. Get your heart print on paper. Sign it. Put your actual flesh living signature on something that says this is what I'm doing. That aligns you with your root chakra. From there, the head has all the other stuff sorted out. You're blast off from there. You just need a solid foundation. And that goes for everybody. I don't care if you're a bum on the street. I know that everybody was born with a dream, and that for some reason, and we can all think we know what that reason is, but none of us do. That dream gets beaten out of most of us throughout the course of our life. And if there's one thing that Trust Medicine people and this project is about, it's empowering people's dreams, making it so that we can help you lay that foundation, and meet you on your path wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're that guy begging for quarters. If you got a dream and a vision, and that we're all blessed with the ability to tap into abundance and do great things in our life, especially if we live in service to others.
Mm-hmm. So would you say?
Yeah, Yossi, one thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
just.
Please go ahead.
This leg, we got to figure this one out. The one thing I did notice was, when we first got rolling with this, we had the vision of helping others, empowering others. But there was some type of roadblock, and we couldn't figure it out. And Yossi brought up alignment, and we started focusing on that. We started focusing on the heart, and getting rid of any like ulterior motives when it comes to business structure per se. Um, and once we started practicing that and giving freely, um, to be incredibly detailed with that, we were speaking on alignment, and this orphanage in Uganda that has been messaging me for years. Can you help us? Can you help us? Can you help? And I was just never in a position to do so. And then I was like, you know what? I feel compelled to give. So we go ahead and we sent them a donation, to feed the kids. And it was the very next morning. Literally, that was the spark. It was the very next morning of once we gave without any expectation of return, whether that be any kind of help, in any kind of way. Once we did that and had that alignment of the heart, this thing just started taking off. Everyone started messaging me, how can I help with this? How can I help with that? I mean, we have probably a dozen people right now that are working on the back end, whether that be, constructing the Discord, working on the socials, working on the AI content. These are all things that we thought we'd have to delegate, that we thought we would have to, pay for. And it turns out that once we aligned with the frequency of love, um, all of a sudden the tribe started flooding in, and the people just started flooding in and going, how can I help? I love what you're doing. How can I help? So it's just a direct example of going from that lack of alignment to alignment. Trying to think of a more terminological way to state that, but going from just the standard mindset of let's grow a business, having all these business ideas, and then we just sat back and said, you know what, let's align with the heart. And once we did that, this whole thing just started blowing up.
Yeah, it was it was always a launch pad, but we didn't get the rocket ship until we did that, brother. And for real, once we shifted our vision to knowing that while we're empowering ourselves, we want everybody that we work with to have the same access to the connections and the networks and the and all of the financial technology and spiritual technology that we have access to. And that right there did it. Because as soon as you align that right there, the universe just has a way of flooding people in. So now, we're working with people that are doing regenerative agroforestry and animal rescues and orphanages. And, we have a couple big projects that we can't really speak about right now because of NDAs that we've had to sign and stuff. But stuff that's really changing a lot of people's lives and making a really big impact in this world. And it really is fulfilling when you live in service to others, especially those who are less fortunate and the voiceless.
Yeah, I was going to ask if, and I think I already know the answer, but if you would obviously recommend. My question was, if you would recommend, obviously no, we already answered that question. Yeah.
What question? Because other people might have it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we already talked about it, but yeah, just to not be confusing here, kind of thinking out loud. Is just that, doing ceremony, doing breath work as a stepping stone to being successful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Breath work and yoga should be the foundation of your practice.
Yeah.
And then from there, you connect with plants. Make sure that you connect with plants and plants alone. And when you connect with a plant, the best prayer, I'm telling you, after close to 10 years, either, bouncing between the Amazon and the Andes and Colombia and drinking medicine with a lot of different people and tuning into Wachuma, the sacred cactus, for over a year straight, every single day on a dieta. I'm going to tell you that when you put that cup whether it's the raw medicine or it's medicine where you've boiled it down and you've sang songs to the brew and you've sat there and put your prayers into it and stuff. When you put that cup to your chest, the only thing that you should say is your intention is, let me connect with the master spirit of this plant, and I trust your wisdom. That right there connects you, boom, right with the source of the intelligence itself. And it puts trust in it. And it respects that, especially when you call it by its name or whatever name it's known in the location that you find it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Great Spirit put magic here for us. Magical tools and talismans and artifacts laying on the ground and growing on the trees. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, we figure it's our job. We don't like to focus too much on the plants because we know that plant, quote unquote, plant medicine has gotten a bad rap, and that there are a lot of practitioners who, you know, do this to amplify their ego. And the one thing that we're doing is, you know, if it doesn't help you, we don't want you doing it. And so we always tell people, you know, we have a very prudent approach to everything that we do, non-speculative. We prefer time, you know, tested results driven stuff where, you know, we know for certain that it's going to work. We don't like to put anybody that you know, that's in our tribe out there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
hanging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I've always been afraid of touching this kind of work. I've done it cautiously with people, and not with any result that I could see, just from, you know, just from the few times that I tried it just intuitively, you know, where I knew I would do no harm, but it may not have been the right approach, you know, in the past with some psilocybin and whatnot. And
If you're connecting with psilocybin and you want a master teacher on point, I would definitely connect with me on the back end. And I have a link that a brother of mine is actually offering some Syrian root. And it's a connection that Tony and I have. And you would essentially use the Syrian rue as an MAO inhibitor and as a master plant teacher. It's the master plant teacher that the Zoroastrians used. They were, in fact, the first monotheistic religion, technically. But their monotheism was more centered around the plant itself and its connection to the one being that is in all of us, right? And then they saw that this one plant combined with some other adjunct that was a psychoactive adjunct, would actually be able to get you to the pearly gates. And yeah, after working with this plant for over a year, I can tell you it's you know, that's the truth.
yeah,
You know, Syrian rue plus a little bit of mushrooms, and you know, you're off to the races. You're going to get that star connection.
yeah. I've done the combo and the ayahuasca with some rue, I believe, was what we used way back when I did a ceremony in the early 90s. But I guess my question is more about trusting. I haven't got to the point where I'm trusting in myself enough to, you know, administer or feel comfortable enough with the medicine. It's definitely going to take longer for me to feel comfortable. No, absolutely.
No, you shouldn't.
No,
you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel comfortable.
No.
It's only because I drank medicine hundreds of times that I'm comfortable. That I'm comfortable sitting by myself with medicine, which is the first thing. Never facilitated a ceremony for somebody else unless you can sit with yourself and die 1,000 times. If you can do that, then go ahead and, you know, bring it on.
Yeah, that was definitely the block. And, you know, yeah.
You got to learn to sit with yourself. And actually, before you do that, you know, get a primer on Vipassana and Anapanasati, which is essentially just the awareness of breath, specifically the sensation of breath as it enters in through the nostrils, and it is felt on the upper lip and in the nostrils. That sensation of breath alone, the body feeling of the breath, is the thing that you focus on and can continue to bring your attention back to when the monkey mind wants to show you all kinds of clever tricks and throw its poo and stuff, and entertain, right, and entertain you. You just keep bringing it. You go, great trick, right? If you want, write it down in a notepad in front of you, but then go right back to the breath. And the more that you do that, every time you do that, it's a push-up on a spiritual level. It's like spiritual push-ups. It's equipping you for something where you're taking control over your mind. And then from that space, you'll be in a space where 3 to 6 grams of mushrooms might not even faze you. And if you're in that space, then go ahead and start bringing other people on board, help them with their trauma. Really, because that's the quickest way to get through trauma. Each one teach one. The quickest way to learn anything is to teach somebody it.
I'm only laughing because your advice is to, let it go and breathe and elevate, to the next level. I don't have much of a problem doing that. The problem is when I take heroic doses of mushrooms, I end up losing my clothes, rolling in moss somewhere far away from my friends where I could freeze to death in a mountain. I have no earth in my chart. So if you give me hallucinogens, I'll just float away.
Okay, well, there are.
Everything is just so funny, and I'm trying to stay focused. I've been really quiet this entire time.
You can laugh at it because I meant it to be kind of funny, but this is where I'm like seeking some guidance because I'm like,
but what do you need guidance through?
Well,
because you're here, right? And you haven't died, and your body does have infinite intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
And while we might think that we were going to freeze to death in the mud, right? We rarely do we, right? Rarely do we.
Thank God for my friends who found me. But
this
is my MO several of times. And I think
once do it in the spring.
Parent, I wasn't really wanting to do it, here in the East Coast where people are like, no, there's no babysitter for me. Not that I need a babysitter, but I'm using that a little loosely. Like,
no, I got you.
Spot guy, like
no, I got you.
Let's
I got
not
you.
let her jump off that cliff because it looks like the water's right in front of her. I really have earth. Okay,
right? No, I got you.
It could be dangerous.
I got you. That's why we're providing the earth. That that is the thing that we're doing through the ultimate objective here is to be able to provide safe healing spaces for people to explore alternate healing modalities and ancestral healing modalities, whether that be plant-based or breath-based or body somatic healing or whatever it is that's necessary to release the trauma and let it go thoroughly so that you can be fully in your power. And, it is one of our major missions and goals to be able to provide several centers in a multiple of different locations to be able to, facilitate these types of grand healing experiments.
That's right.
Where you can come and, if you're uncomfortable being around people, you go play in the forest by yourself. We'll make sure that, there might be somebody that's watching you so that you don't freeze to death, but, or at least knows that you just went off wandering into the woods.
Seeing me, which is the problem is I'm sort of like, okay, there I go. And I don't know that there's other people because I'm hearing, the trees telling me, thousands years old songs are going on and, hey, this stream looks great to jump into. And then hypothermia. Right. I literally almost because it was just too cold.
Safety. There's protocols. We've been at this for a long time. We definitely don't want anyone.
My mind. I need more earthing, grounding energy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So mushrooms or something like that might not be for you. What I would suggest for you is some iboga.
Yeah, they've taught me what they had to teach me, and maybe for me in the future, but I wouldn't count anything out. But I know what you're saying. I think that there's different levels, and I'm very more interested in the DMT and the what I'm trying to say.
Right. That don't try to
the iboga. Mm-hmm.
Try to steer away from any kind of synthetic variety because you got to remember that water is the actual programmable essence of what life is. It's in the water.
No synthetics. No.
Right. So because of that, if it's plant based and it's the actual raw material, That's the stuff you want to be working with. I had more of a profound experience with a 7-day horsetail tea fast after the first time I drank ayahuasca than I did with any other plant. I was sobbing tears of joy at the sun, at the mountain, at the cactus, at the blade of grass, at a bug, at everything. I was just so overwhelmed with appreciation, right? And horsetail is an innocuous plant. Has a lot of minerals in it, great for fasting. But at the same time, you know, it also is an ancient plant teacher that while it doesn't provide some kind of psychoactive like breakthrough, it'll get the tears flowing. That's for sure. Right. So it's not always what the tricks that the mind can give us. Sometimes some people are at a spot where the medicines that they need are non-psychoactive. And we also want to really encourage people to, you know, whatever medicine that you need, that's the medicine that you need. Medicine is just something that connects us to the earth and ourselves and the great spirit. That's all it means.
Yeah. And being able to discern that. See, this is what I want to hone in as a practitioner. I want to be able to get at a point with myself. My goal is to where I see and I can see in other people, is giving this going to break their reality and cause some kind of psychotic break? Or what do I want to recommend? But I have to earn more, I have to build more trust with myself in order to be able to have that right skill where I'm looking at other people not doing any, unintentional, of course, but not doing any harm, like you said.
Right. I would never tell you where that demarcation point on your journey is. All I'm going to tell you is that it will come. It will come. And when it comes, you'll see it and you'll know what it is. And you'll know exactly the time that it happened, where you went from being afraid essentially to being empowered.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you, as usual. Appreciate it.
Of course, sister. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Hey, Dennis, what's going on, brother?
How you going? Yeah, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on marijuana.
Oh, I think it can be a sacred plant. I also think it can be definitely abused if used in a recreational way. It can be used to escape your problems. It could be a demotivator. And for some people who are naturally highly motivated, it can really get them going. It could be like a more than a shot of coffee. It could be like a line of meth to some people. So yeah, I mean, for real. It just depends on your constituency and your relationship with it. That's the most important number one thing with any plant or, let's say, substance that you're working with or connecting with is, what is your relationship with it? Relationships can be beautiful or they can be abusive, right? And just remember that if your relationship with it is one of respect and is one of tolerance and where you don't need to smoke it every day, all day, and once in a while you can use it as a psychedelic, which is the way that marijuana is best used, is a hit every after you fast, you can definitely tell it. Fast for 7 days, as you have, brother. And then on the other end of it, you get the yoga mat out. Try to do some yoga. You'll be like struggling through the whole thing all week and everything. Then take a hit of some really good high quality marijuana and watch what happens to your yoga routine. Watch how it dials itself in without you even needing to. But then on the other end of the coin, watch what happens if the next morning you wake up and you try to do it again and replicate it. It's not going to happen, right? So this is all about tolerance. It's all about we have to be in control of our demons and our angels, and anything can become abusive. And it's relationship based. Treat the plants as if treat marijuana, treat that cannabis like it's a woman, brother. Like it's a woman you respect, you want to keep around in your life forever, but you know that if you get too close to it, she's going to consume you, or you're going to consume her, and you're going to ruin the relationship. But if you keep a little bit of distance and you're just patient and loving and respectful, and you connect with her when it's best for both of you to amplify each other's best qualities, boom, you know, now you got a protocol for a very long lasting relationship that, you know, that can be medicinal for you until the day you die.
Yeah, like most people that I see, they and I used to be the same, they overindulge in it. So I mean, it like become an everyday thing, and
Oh yeah.
but you don't see many people that'll just have it now and then. It's usually a lot. It's usually nearly every day.
Ah, but that actually is one of the most blessed things about marijuana is that while the psychological addiction can be tempting to smoke it every day to escape your problems, because the physical addiction isn't anything that's going to harm your body, except for maybe a couple nights of night sweats and some nightmares if you've been smoking it too long and you decide to detox from it, right? That can happen. But just because the physical thing isn't life threatening, it's a great tool to measure not only where is my willpower at. If you find yourself smoking marijuana every day, start your day off with a cold shower. Get your will right, because a cold shower will essentially adjust your will. It'll strengthen it. Start doing stuff like that. And then once you're in a space where your will is the thing that leads the way, then you'll choose. You'll be like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to smoke until, you know, 5, 6 o'clock or after a board meeting or, you know, when my day is done. Then I'll take a puff off of something. And George Carlin said it best. He said he would write his whole entire comedy routine up and he'd write it out perfect. He thought it was awesome. And he wouldn't smoke anything during that time. We're talking weeks. But then after it was done, he'd look at it, he'd smoke a joint, and then he'd go and he'd punch it back up and he'd fill in all of the gaps, right? That's the way it's meant to be used.
Yeah.
Not necessarily as everyday pain relief unless you have cancer or something where those cannabinoids are actually providing some kind of benefit for your body and allowing your body to reach a space of homeostasis, you know, because of the cannabinoid receptors in your brain needing to be filled. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think like most people that I see, they're not using it the right way, and these people have got, you know, they're covering up emotional problems.
Sure. I mean, you gotta remember though, brother, it's not their fault. We've all been, you know, ultimately this boils down to a parasitic culture that's feeding on people. And the only way that it can really feed on us is if it gets us to feed on ourselves, right? So it offers us things like this, like, hey, here's some cannabis, but it does it in such a way where, you know, it celebrates oh, I'm going to just be high, man. And we're cool, man. And like, you know, that like the thing where it's kind of derpy and like nobody cares. You can't report to a job. You can't, you know, you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You smoke pot all day. That's all you do. Right. That kind of thing isn't helpful at all. In fact, it's very destructive. It's not going to destroy your body like meth would, but it's going to destroy a part of you that could have been something really special if you allowed it to. And that's all through tolerance. Just, you know, developing a relationship with something and recognizing that, you know, we have to have boundaries with everything in every relationship. So put the boundaries on it, adjust the will. You know, maybe I don't want to smoke at 3 o'clock like I normally do. Let's kick it back 2 hours, even if it's just once a week. Just stretch your will a little bit and you'll get a lot out of that.
You know, it's all about controlling whatever you're going to do. You got to be able to control it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm never going to be a part of anything that controls me. You know, if I can't control it, including a sinking ship, you know, if I'm on a sinking ship and I'm not the captain, I'm jumping overboard. I'm good. Y'all figure out you know, how to take the buckets and get the water off the ship. I'm not even a part of it. I'm in the lifeboat already, right? But if you let me be the captain, I'll make sure. I'll do my best to make sure that everybody gets to safety. That's the way that you got to approach everything, including especially yourself and your relationship with any entity that you come in contact with. And know that these are entities. and not in a bad way. People do like to, black magic is found more in the pages of the congressional record than it's found in a plant, right? But plants are demonized, not only because they can help us, but because of how people have abused them. So, just be wary. That's all, and approach everything with caution and respect and a little bit of humility. If you can do that, you'll get a long way, and you'll have more answers than I do at some point, if that's the road you went down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next thing is the things that you've tried, and I know like marijuana can be a bit toxic to the body over time. It'll build up in there. What about the things that you've tried?
Well, the things that I've I don't experiment anymore. I experimented when I was younger. 22 years ago, I used to experiment with all kinds of different things. But about 14 years ago, my wife and I went to Ecuador. We spent some time with a shaman who really rearranged the way that I thought about this and the way that I saw the world. And from that space, I don't really use things anymore. I connect with them, right? So I connect with the spirit specifically that's inside of the plant, whether it's smoking some pot, some cannabis, and connecting with that spirit in an isolated setting, in a way where I'm going to go take the dog out for a walk in the woods, and with my notepad or whatever, right? Or sometimes on the as you guys know, on the Saturday night calls, I do connect with some iboga, which is the ultimate master plant. A small amount, I take a pinch of it. It tastes like battery acid, but I chew it up really nice in the morning, and then I connect with some sacred mushrooms, and I go through my trauma, which is normally just vibrating kind of out of control, and sometimes shaking. But all of that is any kind of anxiety and nervousness and tension and emotional baggage that's built up inside of me. And then as I release that through my breath, just by taking deep breaths in those spaces where you're most scared, you take a really deep breath and you exhale, like Tony was saying. The exhale, the long exhale, that's where it's at right there. That's how you process trauma. But if you do it with a plant, you can actually release it completely. I've been in the jungle where one session with ayahuasca was like 30 sessions with a therapist. So as far as harming the body, a plant isn't really going to harm the body like a synthetic is. A synthetic is going to harm the body because they've isolated a specific variation of the compound, and they've inundated and flooded the body with it. So yeah, you can expect liver damage, kidney damage, brain damage, heart damage, etc. But when you're talking about a plant has more wisdom than we do. And unless it's a plant that's ultra toxic, like a datura, which they still use a datura in the jungle to be able to reset people's legs when they break, because they don't have the modern anesthetic around. They don't have doctors. They need to rely on plants. And the people of the jungle have a lot of wisdom. Ayahuasca is an amazing teacher. She will show you in a way that will heal you every other plant that's in the jungle that grows around her, that you can use for whatever it is that you're struggling with. And that is the ultimate wisdom that plant has to share with us. It's not necessarily about the plant itself. While that plant has been, or that the Banisteriopsis caapi and the Psychotria viridis, the combination there, has been used. The thing that we call ayahuasca has been used in the West in order to facilitate a psychedelic experience and get people high and help them release some trauma. That's ultimately not what its use is. Its use is to be drank in the jungle, so that the other plants that grow in the jungle, the flowers, the trees, the barks, the roots, and so on, so that all of those can be brought to the surface during the experience. And whatever the ayahuasca reveals to you is the thing that you need to heal. it'll tell you the plant that you need to do what's called a dieta with. And a dieta is simply just fasting with that plant for an extended period of time. If it's a maracuya, which is like a passion fruit, you're meditating under the vine of it. You're eating the leaves. You're drinking them in a tea, and then at the end of the fast, you're breaking it with the fruit, right? And through that, what maracuya is. You get what you get it on a real intrinsic level. It's actually changed you. So yeah, nobody can ever tell me that a plant is toxic, unless it's something like I could see like kratom being toxic because it has a very addictive quality, and because it's marketed to opioid addicts as a way out of that cycle. It's just another, hey, get into this cycle, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Can I just comment on that? Oh, sorry,
yes,
Wild,
please.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I just wanted to comment, a couple of things came up just after studying, some herbs, herbs of the Pacific Northwest coast, little Native American training, just kind of intuitively, little la'au lapa'au like knowledge from, the islands. But it's interesting because I have seen a lot of hospitalizations, throwing up, overstimulation of the endocannabinoid system. My daughter's friends coming over and, taking an edible. And obviously, a lot of us know that, these plants that, our parents smoked, and the amount of, THCA and all of the entourage effect of plants is really important. And that's why, Yossi, I would agree with you that these isolates, like smoking synthetic DMT or LSD, or it's not quite the same, although I have experimented with these things also in my past, and had a great experience. I was in it for the experience, and I wouldn't say great, but had an experience. I didn't put any judgment on it, but I did see friends who had a bad experience. I had a friend have a full psychotic break on LSD in college and go to an asylum, and I've seen the effects of
that's more common than
yes,
LSD makes you rely on your own psychology. There's no plant teacher there to help you.
That's right. It's very isolated. Never liked it for that reason.
Yep.
I was a small doser, right? Like small amounts. So basically, anything, I think in the plant world, again, what Yossi's saying is that, basically most of the time, and I've never seen plants kill someone, but there's the way that they're making marijuana. I mean, coming from Hawaii, like back to your question, Wild, I've seen a lot of damage with weed, but mostly like really altered weed. Just the stuff is so heavily hybridized, as most of us know. And different people respond. All of us have very unique endocannabinoid systems. So it makes a lot of sense, Yossi, because what plant, a lot of people going around going, do this, it healed me, do this. Yeah, okay, no, because even the athletic guys do this. Well, you could tear,
no, that's right,
your knee if it's not meant for you. So kind of tapping into the intuitive side of plants is really important, and your intention when you use them is really important.
So important.
Yeah, like the main thing.
Yeah, it is the main thing. There is a jungle tobacco called Nicotiana rustica that grows in the jungle in Ecuador, specifically. And this specific variety of tobacco is brown, kind of like a cigar tobacco or a pipe tobacco, but it's not stringy. It's actually it's very different. It's wild. It grows in the shade, and it contains about 17 times as much nicotine as the traditional tobacco, which is the tobacco that's been hybridized. It's essentially slave tobacco, meaning they've enslaved it, they've domesticated it, they've trained it to grow in lines in the sun, specifically for profit. And that tobacco is the golden stringy tobacco that they put in cigarettes. That tobacco will cause cancer. The other tobacco, the Nicotiana rustica tobacco, is tobacco where I've taken a large 16-ounce cup of dark black muddy liquid that was made from fermented tobacco, and I've drank it. And it was one of the most profound, transformative experiences I had specifically. And while I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, I know that for me, having a computer science background and being very logical and technical, overly technical to a fault, it freed me from a lot of that handicap that was considered in this world to be my greatest leverage point, right? But it freed me from it, and it showed me how it was a handicap, but it showed me it in allowing me to conquer it, and die so many times during that process. And when I say die, I mean like really die, thinking that you're gone, getting you to a point where you release your body and with gratitude. And that is the thing right there, that as many times as you can do that, on the other side of that, you're never going to see life or your quote unquote problems the same ever again. Yeah, hybridized plants, guys, are dangerous. Anytime man thinks that he can improve on the creation of creator, he's only deceiving himself.
Yeah, my thoughts on cannabis. Probably 7, 8 years ago, I started Relief through CBD, and we had a supplier that created the hemp oil. Really clean, spagyrically processed. It was like beyond full spectrum. And we grabbed all the phytonutrients, left it in its most pure form possible. No heat, extraction process. Um, so it's my opinion on cannabis, and I don't smoke. I smoked a lot of weed in my probably about 20 years. I smoked a lot of weed. It was probably up to an eighth a day, and I still got stuff done, but there was definitely a limiting factor there, where it, even though I'm a motivated individual and a driven individual, it definitely takes away from that. Even if it's just a little bit, it's enough to not be as productive, even though
Yeah.
that drive is there.
And your dreams,
And then
brother.
the dreams go away. Yeah, yeah.
Dreams go
You quit
away. It
smoking.
chases the dreams.
Right.
It
Chases the
chases the
dreams away.
dreams away. Yeah.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. In the awake and the and the other realm. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very, very demotivating. If I were to, and I still consume hemp oil, but I'll probably never go back to smoking. Unless it's like a rare occasion, like New Year's when everyone gets drunk and I don't drink. Okay, I'll smoke a joint or something. Just to kind of try to fit in. But at that point, from not smoking for so long, I'll probably just be paranoid and go hide in my room, or hide in the garage.
Right.
So
Yep.
uh, yeah, everything has a certain way of using it for sure. And Dennis, my opinion on cannabis, brother, is if you're gonna consume it, eat it. And don't do it all day every day, just more of
Yeah.
a little bit at night or something like that. But even then, it can diminish those dreams when you have the THC. So the real medicinal part, now THC for pain, if you got pain, things like that. But even the CBDs, we had a Parkinson's client, really, really bad Parkinson's, couldn't get out of bed for 4 hours every morning. The very first day after taking our hemp oil, he hopped right out of bed, and his wife just ranted and raved about it. So you can get the benefit of the plant without consuming the other end, the detriment end of it. Smoking pot, it's not, you're going to have your connoisseurs out there and you know, quote unquote stoners. Oh no, I get everything done. I still go to work and this and that. Yeah, you might go to work, but do you go home and work? You might go to your job, but do you go home and work on your passion? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely found that to be
that's
true.
my 2 cents.
So then,
Yeah.
what do you think about alcohol then? Because like I know a lot of people that drink and they seem to be able to live a life and still get stuff done, but
ultimately
I,
alcohol
Yeah.
ultimately alcohol dehydrates you, brother, and it takes your spirit away. That being said, right, there are exceptions to every rule. The Kogi in the Santa Marta Sierra Nevadas of Colombia, a region in Colombia where I was staying, they would actually first of all, they use salt to be able to they would consume a little bit of salt, and then they would drink a lot of water in order just to be able to make the hike down the mountain and retain the water in their bodies so that they didn't need to drink from a stream that possibly an animal died in and then have diarrhea and die on the way down, right? So these people are very sophisticated. And what they tend to do and what their shamans do is coca leaf is their main ceremonial plant. But because coca leaf in and of itself, when you mix it with the specific shell that they gather in the ocean and they bring it up to the top of the mountain and they chew the coca leaf and they mix it with a powderized version of this shell with ash. And it activates the coconut leaf, makes your mouth numb and all this stuff. But their shamans, after chewing coca leaf all day, they sit in a cave. Okay. And they have initiates, and people that come to them that want healing are required to sit in that cave. And those people don't consume any coca leaf. They don't consume anything. But the shamans, they definitely do. But they also sit there with a bottle of aguardiente, of alcohol from the cane sugar, from the actual cane plant in its purest form. And they will tune in but only because the coca leaf is present as a master guiding spirit are they able to navigate through that experience where the spiritual realm is opened up to them. And because they're at the top of a mountain in a cave, that's the reason that they're protected. Now, when people drink alcohol in a bar, that's why so many people report seeing souls leaving and seeing entities on the top of a bar. Leaving through that bar is because the body, the most precious part of you, will evacuate the vessel when it has those spirits in it. Yeah, I know that there's a meme going around, and I know you guys know about Al Ghul, right? Alcohol, the master spirit of the alcohol is Al Ghul. But at the same time, know that there are times where shamans and people can use alcohol in order to be able to facilitate not a healing experience, but a different connection. Let's just say. Like if you break your leg in the forest and all I have is a bottle of gin or some aguardiente, I'm pouring it down your throat, bro. Right? At the same time, that being said, if you're drinking on a daily basis or even drinking in this material world where there are a lot of people having issues with their own spiritual shit and their own entity attachments, you are absolutely 100% exposing yourself to being attached to by those entities.
so is it what do you like? What about somebody that doesn't do any of these things, and like you guys have a go at that sort of stuff? Is there any like? Do you think it's beneficial to actually do that? Like, what about if it's someone that doesn't do any of that? What would be?
What do you mean, brother? Like you don't do any of what?
You don't do any plant medicines. You don't drink alcohol. You don't have sugar. and stuff like that, like to try and expand your mind as far as you can, because I know people that do that.
Yeah.
Compared to doing plant medicine.
Breath work will get you the furthest. Breath work will get you the furthest. The thing is that the will, listen, if you really want to dial it in and you want to go all commando on it and Rambo style, breath work, cold showers, meditation, fasting. That's it right there. In a nutshell, you have everything inside of you needed except for the cold water in order to be able to facilitate a transformational experience. The plants are there because this civilization that is essentially has a thumb on our spirit and is parasitic toward us and our bodies. It has infiltrated in such a way where it's very hard to see it, especially when we're holding, the greatest mass hypnotist ever devised is in our hands right now through this black screen, right? So especially in a context like that, you got to remember that, sometimes you need a plant. You need something that's a grounding force that can connect you to a shift in perspective. Proper perspective will always produce some kind of result that's better than improper perspective. If you see something correctly, you're always going, even if you keep fucking up, you're only going to mess up for so long. You will learn from your mistakes.
I'd mate that he was never the same after he did it, but him and this other fella, they tried Daturas. Have you heard of them before?
It's called Datura, and in the jungle, I've actually seen people reset legs with Datura. The reason why Datura is so dangerous is because the spirit the spirit actually leaves the body during a Datura experience. So, so if you're administered Datura, your spirit will leave, leaving an empty vessel for other spirits, specifically the spirits. If you're in the place where the Datura grows, the spirits of the forest will come in, and they're not always friendly. More often than not, they're not. Especially because you've got people defending their spaces and their tribes and their people against encroachment. Lots of black magic out there.
Like, I'm not sure, but that stuff must be pretty potent, because he was never the same again after that.
Yeah, it's the most potent psychoactive psychedelic plant / root that there is. In Ecuador, they synthesize it into what's called scopolamine, and you'll be walking down the street in one of the major cities, and somebody will come up to you and either hand you a pamphlet and it's laced with it, or they'll just say hey, or hey gringo or whatever. You look at them, they blow it in your face, and then before you know it, they say hey, you're under their spell. You're laughing, giddy, but they go, hey, let's go to your ATM. Let's withdraw the cash. Let's go to your apartment. Let's call a U-Haul. Let's load everything into the U-Haul. Send it to this address. By the time you come out of it, you don't know what happened, but everything that you have has been taken from you. So people use it absolutely more for nefarious purposes than they do for healing. At the same time, I've seen hexes and actual, let's say, curses being put on people who were very powerful people in the jungle. And the one thing that was able to break those was the Datura, because that's its actual primary objective, aside from, like I said, setting a broken leg, or something happens in the jungle where you need an anesthetic and you need to put somebody into a temporary coma.
So you're talking about the root or something. I'm thinking it's the flowers that these guys have.
Yeah, there's flowers that grow from a plant. The root is the most potent form of it. The root is the thing that, when you're connecting with ayahuasca and you consume that root, it does tap you into a space where, I don't care if you believe in magic or not, it is magical. And it's profound. And it can be very It can either inflate the ego, or it can bring somebody to a place where they can buck all of that shit off of them, and any kind of entity attachments and whatnot, and trauma. So yeah, the root is very powerful. The flowers pretty much just make people trip, and the flowers and the seeds, highly, I do not recommend it. Not at all.
It made him really vague, and he never, like I said, he never really recovered from it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah, it's best not to mess around, guys. Plants, you're supposed to have a calling. If you're connecting with a plant, it's because you were called by that plant to connect with it specifically, and to connect with it in a sacred way, not like not recreationally, not to get high. We don't need to get high. The highest that you'll ever get is the peak of sobriety. That's the highest that you'll ever be in your life. 7 days into a fast, and just rocking and rolling. That's the highest that you get. The other stuff is just for reclaiming your presence, essentially, or connecting with a plant for some kind of higher wisdom, or to be able to tap you into a space so that you can see things that are normally off of your radar, right?
Yeah, I would just like to say, Wild, sorry to hear about your friend. It's I've seen this a lot, and either people they're using it in the wrong setting, they're using it with the wrong guidance, they're using it for the wrong reasons. And like Yossi said, a lot of times the Al Ghul, the jinn are real. We do have malevolent spirits around us all the time, and certain weaknesses and portals, once they're opened up, even having sex with the wrong people, so to speak, or with someone who has entities attached to them, so to speak, transferable, so definitely, if you're thinking or turned off by plant medicine because of these stories, it's not, it happens, right? I've seen it happen, to people, but it's not when you go in like pure of heart, you're fasted, and you have maybe a guide or a shaman who is trustworthy, right? Set and setting has everything to do with life or death, essentially.
Yeah, and those are few and far between.
Correct. And that's exactly what I was going to say, is that
right.
I think in this group, you've got a really, from what I've heard, a very sane group of people not claiming to be shamans, which is really important. So if people
shaman, heal thyself.
Correct.
Shaman, heal thyself.
Yeah,
that's
no
what it's
way.
about. You are the shaman.
Yeah.
You are the shaman. Even if you have the most powerful, quote unquote, shaman in front of you facilitating a ceremony, and you derive some kind of healing, it was all you.
Yeah.
All you. Not the shaman.
No.
At best, a shaman is best when they can get out of their own way, not be present in the same sense of like being the star of the show, and allow you space to be able to go through your shit and just hold that space so that they have a safe container for you to throw a temper tantrum if you need to. That's the best you can expect from a quote unquote shaman. But Dennis, in your sense, brother, I would suggest meditation, brother. Meditation, body movement, yoga, breath work, stuff like this. And then once you get to a space where you've mastered all that, connect with some sacred mushrooms, and see how your practice that you're already immersed in, see how it changes. And then you'll have something to say about whether it was beneficial or not. Right. But if you're in a space where and I'm not saying you specifically, brother, but anybody, if anybody's in a space where they're sitting in front of the TV, eating Doritos every night, and then they decide, hey, I'm going to take a heroic dose of mushrooms and think it's going to do anything. Nope. Not going to do anything. You'll be probably sitting in front of the TV the next night, eating chips. Same thing. You have to incorporate the free stuff to be able to get the stuff that's the most valuable. And the free stuff is the stuff that came equipped with the vessel. You have an ability to breathe and connect. You have awareness you have awareness of sensation. That alone can reset the mind if you use it correctly. Now, you also have this awesome body that can flex itself and stretch. And when it stretches, when it breathes into the stretch fully, can release tension at will. And then, breath work itself is a way of adjusting the parameters of consciousness so that they fit back into the experience of what the original experience should have looked like in the first place. Breath work is that, all of the medicines that we're talking about are detoxifying, detoxicants. If you're wobbly walking down the street, it's because you're high on spirit, not because you're fucked up.
Well, we can open up to any other questions. I see Steven's been on. Thanks for joining us, Steven. If you have any questions, feel free. Now's the time. And then Yossi, if we could, for Carter's sake, let's try to wrap it up at 10 Eastern. So go ahead, Steven.
No questions at this time. Just saying hi.
Oh, all right, brother. Hey, man, glad to have you on. We appreciate your presence.
Thanks for having me.
I see in Ellie or Eli. I think Ellie. Ellie, do you have anything?
Hey, yeah, I'm Ellie. I'm new here, so I just referred by a friend and exploring what you guys have to offer. I'm not sure exactly what to ask right now.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. Thanks for joining us. And if you don't mind, who was the friend that referred you?
Shane.
Awesome. Yeah, Shane is our people. We'll be working very closely with him in our future endeavors with with the healing sanctuaries, and he's got a pretty powerful modality and certain techniques that he's working on with the bees, of course, utilizing our frequency for healing in the bee chambers. So we'll definitely be working with him in the future. And right now we're helping him get rolling on his vision, and it's exciting stuff. So
I'm really
if you ever have any questions, yeah.
I'm really excited about his vision. Can I share a little bit about, I guess, what my intentions are or what I might want some help with?
Absolutely. Yes, please do.
Okay, so I do somatic healing, and I work with women to release sexual trauma. I do pole dance, like a therapeutic pole dancing modality. And then I also coach people, like hold space for people to do fasting. So those are my two main things I do right now that I'd love to expand and create more ability to support people that way.
How would you like to expand specifically?
I would really love to have like a healing center, like create a space essentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can you see it? Like when you lay down at night before you're going to sleep, can you see the specifics of what it looks like? The trees and the buildings and the people and the amount of people and all of that?
Oh, absolutely. I even had like a bee bring me a vision of it.
A bee brought you a vision. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a fortuitous blessing that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's synchronistic right there and completely lined up with our vision, especially our work with Shane.
I love that so much. This is Ashley speaking, and I've been I've stayed quiet this entire time. I will say that I've kind of been in awe on accidentally stumbling upon this, because everything that's been discussed here is perfectly in alignment with any intention setting I've been going through and questions that I've had. And the bee has just, I've got bees following me around everywhere. On my ring finger, I wear a bee ring. And so what my joke to men or whoever asks me if I'm married or taken, I wear this ring on my ring finger with a bee on it, and I say I'm married to the bee king. And
Boom.
who's the bee
Boom.
king? And I'm like, all right, if you think about it.
Hey, if you let yourself be that queen, you've got some killer bees out here ready to work for you.
This is so, like I said, I've remained silent with my mute button on. I'm here in the background by myself going, yes.
Yep. That's the way it works. And just know that, we are out here to support everyone's vision who resonates with us. That's what it's about. We're not out here thinking that we do the work all by ourselves. We stay in our lane. Our lane is specifically to support you guys. We're in service to you guys who have an amazing, beautiful vision, maybe something that, you've carried from childhood and that still resonates and that's still strong and makes your heart thump. Something that when you wake up in the morning, you get excited. You're waking up, as soon as you wake up, not hitting the snooze button. So if you're aligned with your vision and that's the thing that's important to you, you please reach out to one of us on the back end and let's see how we can help you get it.
There's so much, and I'm in such a refining process of I'm still building that vision. You asked Ellie earlier if it was easy to see, and I was reflecting on that with my own vision, and I might, it's so broad right now. Like I said, there's a refining process, and I'm accessing all these little gifts that I've stacked up over the years to try to fit it into one conglomerate situation, because it's not just one thing. It's been a challenge to.
I got you, sister. It's
Yeah.
complex. It's complex, and it can be often overwhelming because when you're blessed with some kind of vision like that or a dream, it often comes with all of the adjuncts, which are usually just the people who are there supporting your dream. The thing that you need to dial in is, what is your passion? What is your specific passion? What's your lane? Like you said, the pole dancing, in order to be able to release trauma and help women through sexual trauma and so on. That's profound. All you need to worry about is your lane. That's the thing that you need to worry about. All of the things that come as a result of it are things that, essentially that's your support system. That's your support system. Those are your people. They're there to make sure that your dream and their dream come into fruition. That's why we're here. Ultimately, that's why we're here, is just to make the dream dance.
Yeah, I have a question. Y'all are discussing kind of centers and whatnot. Is there a place is there a base, a home? I don't even know if I asked to join the group or how I ended up here. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is awesome.
We're moving.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, welcome, sister. We're actually
That's how I got here.
Awesome.
Yep, through helping others, through helping people like yourselves who have visions. My brother and I here, Mr. Oz, we do have plans for several, and we actually have some contracts that are pending right now for several different healing resorts, places where you can come and just essentially based on nature immersion, where just we rely on the things that are greater than us, that mother creator, to hold us down, to give us the actual wisdom. And we know that just through nature immersion alone you can heal yourself, but then through all of the tools and all of the different connections that we've had, and the different people that we've met who have offered great services and have great things that they have to share with the world. We can really make a serious change just by healing each other. So yeah, incoming. The answer to your question is it's incoming.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
if we were to put a time frame on that, you know, just a rough guess, I would imagine, and you know, we have contracts pending, you know, land in the United States, California in particular, but we are really looking towards, you know, the South America, Ecuador, as kind of like a home base, like the main where we'll spend most of our time.
That's my
And then
home
we'll
away
have them
from
all
home.
over the world where yeah, and we'll have them all over the world so we can facilitate, you know, on a larger geographical scale. Because not everybody, you know, if you're in China to fly to, well, China's probably a bad example because you just go the other way. But you know, if you're far away from Ecuador, to take that long of a trip, but yeah, so to set them up, you know, on a more global scale, and then Ecuador is probably going to be our you know our ground zone, central base per se, and we have intentions to, you know, we already have most of these set up because not the resorts themselves, but the people, the practitioners, the healers, because you know a shaman doesn't work with all medicines, otherwise he's not really a real, you know, a real shaman per se, at least in my opinion. I think, you know, when you work with a particular medicine and you really specialize with that one medicine, you know, to be a master of one instead of just, you know, average at everything. So like I particularly have my specialty medicine, Yossi has his specialty medicine, and then we're you know collaborating with masters of certain medicines and in you know their specialty. And then what we plan on doing is kind of flying these specialists, these healers around to you know each center and hosting those retreats and those ceremonies where you can come in and whatever you need. We you know we kind of talk about go all the way back to childhood and what is it that you need like right now, so we can send you back home, whether that be in 3 days, in 7 days, in 21 days, whatever, right? And we can send you back home a different person, a refreshed person, one with a much higher frequency, where we're you know our goal is to eliminate all these low frequencies that many people resonate on, you know, the greed, the fear, the guilt, the shame, all these things. We want everybody living on a place of love, and we feel if we can touch enough people that we can raise the frequency of you know the collective. So if we were to put a time frame on that, I would say, you know, I'm sure Yossi would agree, we'd probably have the Ecuadorian retreat center set up mid next year.
Yeah,
Oh,
and yeah, time that is a good time frame, brother. At the same time, if there's ever an emergency, guys, where one of you needs a spot, you can come. We do. My wife and I have an extra cabin on our homestead, that we do use to host people who want to come for healing transformational retreats. So you can
I
always
hear.
come our way.
Where are y'all? I'll just say
Um,
I'm in South Texas.
okay,
Uh,
we're right in the Mark Twain. Right in Missouri. Mark Twain
nice,
National Forest.
nice. I miss Missouri. I lived there for a little whiles.
Ah, boy,
Okay,
it's so beautiful. More
it.
springs here than anywhere else.
I miss it so much.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, feel
So I
free
have a
to
question.
reach out on the back end.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Does that mean like message you guys on Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, you can always just message me. That's no worries.
Cool.
My major medicine that I work with is breath work, like I've said, but also the sacred cactus. I've been initiated to work with that, and you know, while I do buck that shaman label, I don't appreciate it because I do, like I said, I believe that each one of us is our own shaman. Um, at the same time, I really do appreciate holding space for people. and helping empower you to be able to get the most out of that medicine that you can without me around, with as little of me present as possible. So, just know that if you do come to me for healing, or to Mr. Oz for healing, we do like to check out and really make it so that it's an empowering experience for you, so you get the most out of it.
Yeah, Yossi, you mentioned cactus. You're talking about San Pedro, or
Yeah, the Wachuma, the sacred. It's essentially children's medicine. It's not anything, right? It's not anything that's like it's not going to put you into a state where it's dangerous at all. You can drink copious amounts of it. At
well,
most, go ahead.
well, but the lag is funky. Um, I was asking. I had so many. All my San Pedro froze 2 years ago, and I wasn't able to carry them inside, and I brewed all of it, and I
Okay.
have it in my freezer, and I've sat alone with this many, many times, and I wonder if you have any advice. It's been 6 or 7 months since I have, but it's a random question. But I super duper concentrate. I froze it in ice cubes and have it in my freezer.
What's been your experience with it?
Oh goodness. Well, so since this being my first meeting, so many things came up that I wanted to bring up and chime in and explain and this and that, but I felt like it was more appropriate for me to absorb and listen as much as I
Yeah,
could.
this no
I
such
might,
thing as appropriate.
yeah. Well, we started the
we're all.
conversation with Bitcoin pickle brine, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
but maybe I'll
do
save.
do do you want to know how to connect with the medicine in the most profound way?
I guess maybe that was part of the advice I was asking. I think I've been for years, I guess I am extremely homebrew improv. I've been super isolated and with not a lot of outside influence and guidance with things
Okay.
like this. So I have been winging it and learning how to navigate a lot of these things on my own.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where I was going with that.
Yeah, what I think you were going toward with it is that you haven't really experimented with it because you haven't had any kind of connection to people that you can talk about how to do that, right?
Right. I mean, as far as yes, yes.
Right,
What you
right.
what?
So drink it. Right.
Well. I mean, I did. I did. But I just it's been quite a moment. I had my time with. I think that the period in my life that I went down that rabbit hole was a really dark period,
Okay.
and um
Are you ready to re-explore?
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah,
in a place
reach
where
out to me. Reach out to
jumping
me.
into this. Oh, go ahead.
Reach out to me through a direct message, and I'll share some of the secrets.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've got all these things up my well, like I said, I have stories for another time, maybe. Uh
Don't we all?
I'm just happy to be here. I'm super like I sat through this whole thing silent, just like so glad. I don't know how I got here, but it's very
Yeah, none of
appropriate.
us do. None of us do. We're all just guiding each other home, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. I love you all. This is
Love you
great.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for
Yeah, mucho
joining in. I
gusto.
was going to ask if you were okay because I don't know. It just, you know, I wasn't sure I was going to share either, but and I will tell you that I'm very similar to you, maybe even you know, in my, obviously we're all similar to each other, but I haven't even, I have, I would say at this point, no idea I know what I'm passionate about. I know what some of my strengths and weaknesses are. You know, I'm learning myself. So, you know, I think that again, it's a process. I liked what you said about the, you know, specializing in one type of medicine, Oz, Yossi, as healers, as it sounds like we all are in our own way. You don't have to be, we don't really heal anyone. Like you said, the word shaman has kind of got a dirty connotation to it now because there's so much black magic involved in it. But each of us has a gift, right? And honing, and or many, right? But I wouldn't even know where to start with mine. Like you, Ashley, I have a bunch of ideas, and I wake up in the morning and I'm hitting the snooze button to save my life. My heart is palpitating. I'm in the rat race. You know, I'm in that kind of paradigm right now, and clearly not sustainable. So, you know, there's
What I found with that, sister, is that you know, after 2 10-day Vipassana sits, silent retreats, I'll tell you right now, the most comfortable that you can be in the tragedy and the chaos that is the environment that we've been born into is if you can find your center on a runaway train. You know, if you can be on that runaway train and you can find a way to connect with your breath and presence, you can die a happy person, right? So that is the thing right there. If you can just find your center, you can be okay no matter what. No
I do it
matter what.
daily, over and over and over again, you know, because
What is your practice for doing that, for
so
reconnecting you to your center?
usually when I wake up, the first thing I do, because I'm having heart palpitations before I even know I'm awake, and I'm having a lot of probably mitochondrial stress, and I'm overweight, you know, after 10 years of Arabic diet. And, you know, I won't blame him because it was great food, but I definitely, because of depression, because of, and not clinical or whatever, just because of feeling depressed. I've, you know, been doing a lot of shadow work for the last 4 years. I've been doing a lot of breathing practice, and I usually either wake up, I sit up in bed, or I lay there and I do my kind of, you know, deep breathing. I do a sort of like double inhale, exhale. I really work on letting go through the exhale. So that's life preserving. I told you I do it at, you know, stoplights. I do it at work with my client with dementia, which is, you know, every day is a new day. Otherwise I wouldn't get up.
Have you heard of the Master Cleanse?
Oh yeah, I used to do it when I was a kid, and I will tell you, all this fasting.
Tap into that.
Yeah, all this fasting has got me definitely interested. Although I have been battling, you know, I'm a little wary. I'm going to start with some like 12-hour to 14-hour. I'm going to be like easy.
I'm just talking about your heart palpitations right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Do the Master Cleanse. That cayenne pepper and the lemon juice as the cleanser, and the cayenne pepper, and then the gravy maple syrup as the minerals. Do that, man. Do that, sister. You know, give your body a rest.
Man,
give your body a rest.
Yep. Yep.
I need that.
You can call me man, bro, sister. Labels, schmabels.
Yeah, but you know, you definitely are my sister, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
We really
that
appreciate
advice.
you on this call.
I've been really wanting to do the fasting, and you know, I'm going to take it easy. I'm in a blood sugar like kind of crisis right now. So
that's why the Master Cleanse. That's why I said the Master Cleanse, right?
I know it, and I like that you keep bringing it up because it's essential.
Oh, it's essential because you know most people can't fast without getting dizzy and headachy and all the detox symptoms, but the Master Cleanse really gets you through all of that. It gets the blood flowing. It gets everything. You know, it is the you know, it's the gateway.
It
as
is
far
the
as I'm
master.
concerned.
I've been doing that since I was a kid, but in the last 10 years, you know, I have not. And now I'm looking at that like it's the impossible feet, of course, that's been like drilled into my head by some kind of, irrational fear that I'm,
Sure.
Also letting go of. Yeah. So cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you. And thanks,
Yeah.
Ashley, and everyone who's sharing.
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah. Thank you,
interested in,
guys.
I missed maybe the first couple meetings, or I just didn't really connect what it was about. I just kept getting an invite and going, yeah, no, Facebook groups. And, and the one night that I joined was directly after seeing Mr. Oz's Uganda post. So there was something about that that really broke the ice and kind of unites people who are interested in going in the same direction. And I'd be really interested at
Absolutely.
one point in this meeting if we could all kind of, if anyone who's interested in sharing would be kind of like just reintroduce themselves and just have a small statement about their vision, or maybe where they are if they feel comfortable sharing, or, I think that might be kind of cool at some point if people are willing. I would enjoy that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
yeah,
too.
absolutely. And Mr. Oz, I know that you said that Carter's there was some kind of issue.
Yeah.
If he needs to cut off the recording, that's fine. If everybody wants to go around in a circle, and just at will, just share. Share. What brought you here? What's your vision? What's your passion? Who are you?
Oh,
Yeah, brother. As far as Carter, Carter, that's up to you, brother. I know you're at a different location tonight, and doing this for us, we really appreciate it. So, if you want to stick around and keep recording, or if you had some other obligations, that's all good, brother. So whatever you got to do.
In it to win it, my guy.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Whoever wants to kick it off, then.
Well, I think I've said a few things about myself, but I'm born and raised in Hawaii. I'm currently in the East Coast for the last 25 years between here and New York City. And I'm a mom. I have a 20-year-old daughter this year in July. And I was a wife for 11 years. And before that, I can't fucking remember. Like, I was a party girl. I was this, I was that. I grew up in the health food store scene, right? Since I was 16 years old, vegetarian cafe, always been interested in assisting people with health and healing. And the long story short of it is, in the process, I've completely fallen apart. I've been, I would say, suffering, self-inflicted suffering, unknowns to me, because, before that, I was a victim of many, many circumstances in my life, many, many traumas, like so many of us, and not, the trauma being the story more extreme than another's, but the trauma in the way that affected me, devastating. And I wasn't till maybe 2020 that I started realizing that this wasn't like sustainable for me. I turned 50 this year, and I don't really want to, although I do find myself caught in the loop of like old age and and this and that. I constantly putting those ants out of my head, these automatic thoughts that aren't mine. I'm looking towards my goal at this point is getting healthier. I'm letting go of a lot of shit, and finding my true purpose and myself again, coming back to that child with, my psychic abilities and my dreams, and wanting to do more public speaking, wanting to teach. I have several, small certifications, a holistic health practitioner, CHC, certified holistic health practitioner, and herbalist. I've been trained by David Winston, Christopher Hobbs, and by some really good Native American teachers in the Pac Northwest, where I went to college. So I do have some experience with ceremonies, plant medicine, very kind of limited, but not for many years. So I'm here just trying to find myself, find my purpose, my self-care. It needs to be more kind of intact, and looking to connect with kind of not like-minded people, because I think my goal is to also accept people who are not where I'm at, but this is certainly refreshing There's community here. I don't have any friends here, so I'm here with my rescue rabbit, who is a very difficult being, and a roommate after my divorce. Yeah, and I'm just trying to find myself. So that's the long story.
Thank you so much for coming to this table and this meeting of the minds and contributing like you have. We really
Thank
do.
you.
We see you. We appreciate you. And while we might not be able to connect you with the solutions necessarily, at best we can point you back to yourself.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Miss Ashley, what is your story?
Yep.
I didn't mean to call on you like that, but you're just the next one on the list.
I hear you. Well, I was prepared to go before she did. I was like, there was the silence, and I thought, I'm A. That makes sense to go first. And she jumped in. I went, oh, thank you. Now I can like think about things before, but something that a phrase is ringing in my mind. A dear friend of mine. Oh, you know what? That doesn't matter. As far as intention goes, I am. Oh, when you get ready to start a statement and then you get like a crossfire of.
That's because you're thinking. Stop thinking.
Tell us what
Stop.
your friend
Really, Ashley,
Go back
the best
to the dear friend.
the best space you could be in is stop thinking about it. Just rapid fire blabber. Blabber until you start making sense.
I worked a festival in a kitchen, and on the last day of the festival, she wrote our prep lists, and on my prep list was open to deeper remembrance. And that stands out to me because that has been my process. I have remembered and forgot and remembered and forgot and remembered and forgot from so many different perspectives and approaches towards accessing I'm thinking I gotta stop.
Yourself.
So, myself, but also
the deeper layers, the thing in there that's not you, but that's us, right?
It is. Right. Yeah, I am certainly more than one, but also one.
Right.
And gosh, see, and also this is such a new environment for me to share and feel welcomed, and I expected myself to like trip up a little bit when I have to say something about myself, but I guess it feels appropriate to say, okay, my human body is 30 years old and I'm also a mother. I was a dog groomer by trade for a few years, and upon some extremely traumatic events and that triggered a sort of, albeit dark, awakening for me. It was really heavy. I lost my business, and my daughter is 12, turning 13 in August, but she lives with her dad now. And so I have been in a position to focus on myself and heal so much generational trauma while I can, before I open up to build a stable foundation to bring her back home with me.
What a blessing and a curse that is.
It is. It's been certainly a challenge to appreciate it and be grateful for the time that I've been given to observe. And that's something that I don't think my mother had. And gosh, I'm trying to make words.
I think we hear you though. We hear you. Yeah, and you're articulating yourself fine.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It does help to be reminded, and especially, I have kept myself very isolated, and this was certainly a leap of faith to jump into a situation that I didn't know what was going on, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I asked for guidance this morning, and the day kind of moseyed along in exactly the way that it needed to, and now I'm here. And it solidifies. There's so much confirmation right now and gratitude that it's difficult to go back and be like, what's my story? What is my story?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I'm excited to
You know,
write it.
I apologize for the lameness of the question. You know,
No.
honestly, no. Really though, I recognize the limitations of the English language and my own limitations at
I'm like,
asking those questions. But
which
you
story?
know what I was trying to ask, and
Yeah.
more importantly, we know what you've been trying to communicate, and
I'm
we
like,
see you, sister.
there's not just one story. I've got so many
Right.
stories.
Yep,
There's a
and they
story
all.
for each one of me.
Yep. And they all run concurrent, and none of them they're all paradoxical to each other.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's just the way it works. That that's called being trapped in a human suit. You know, we're essentially these infinite beings who have these boundaries, you know, from the flesh suit. So, we appreciate you doing the work to be able to be on this call and to be able to share in whatever capacity you wanted to, and you know, thank you so much for being here. We
Yeah.
genuinely really appreciate you, and we hope that you join us on Saturday. Saturday we connect with a little bit of medicine, and we get a little bit deeper into some of the mechanics of what we do, as well as you know, the individual stories of the people that that are affected by the work that we do, and you know, some success stories. Let's just say.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
excited. I'm excited to come back. I am. I
Yes,
will.
ma'am. Yeah. Keep.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Hi.
keep. Yep. Keep joining it.
Ashley,
We really
you're a
appreciate you, and we
sweetheart.
see you.
Yeah, you're a sweetheart. I like your energy so much. And I would just wanted to say that nothing I wanted to say just came out. Okay. So, you know, you have to instantly just like forgive yourself and try to remember, you know, I just always try to remember not to censor myself. But, you know, again, I have to think about it because who am I? You know, that's my deeper question. So hang in there. And, you know, this isn't a place that's like, I feel like there's a lot of humbleness and there's a lot of gratefulness. So you're in the right place.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I feel it. I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Mr. Steven, would you like to share, brother? If not, we'll move on to Mr. J.
Sure, I'll make it brief. I'm Steven, just turned 40 in Indiana. Sober these days, but used to use a lot of plant teachers. Once used mushrooms 9 days in a row. These days, I'm on the path to lifting humanity to its highest potential, lifting curses off the world, on the magnum opus to reach Godhead and be the best version of myself, working on being a more elite version of myself.
Boom, brother.
Love
You
it.
know, all of us can. You know, if all of us can have that prayer, you know, we're golden.
Loving it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, Steven. Thank you. Thank you, brother, for sharing.
Thank you.
Mr. J, would you like to share anything, bro? Or sister? Sister? Miss J? Mr. or Mrs. J? Ms.
Mr.
J?
Sister.
Mr. Ms? We don't know yet.
I think Jay was trying to say something.
What's up, Jay?
Maybe not.
Yeah, no worries. Please do not feel like you're being put on the spot here. Let's see. Mr. Dennis, would you like to share anything, brother?
just about to say I have to get going, but I'm not sure what I'm not sure what I'm gonna not sure what to say.
Oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to say
Yeah,
anything. Just your
yeah.
presence on the call, and you know you're a regular, so you already know the what we do here and why we do it, and you know we're always appreciative for your presence, brother. So just thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, I could say what I've said before. I've come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
You know it. We're all out of bubble gum, bro. All of us are out of bubble gum.
Yeah,
Still, find a way to blow those bubbles.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
teach
Yeah.
you. How about spit bubbles? That's my specialty.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. Wherever you're at with it.
Kind
Yeah.
of gross for others, but cool for me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Blow your
Yeah.
own bubbles. You
I'm
know?
all about it.
Yeah. Just you know, briefly. So you guys know I'm Yossi. You know, I'll go as deep or as shallow into my story as possible. Basically, I'm the guy on the call here on the other line who's just doing my best not to be me through this experience, and let let whatever divine presence is inside of all of us speak through me so that I can resonate with y'all. You know, that's it in a nutshell. And I think it's pretty much the same for Mr. Tony Oz, and if James is still on the call, and Mr. Carter, I know we're all on the same page. So, Mr. Oz, would you like to share anything about your own personal journey, bro, before we wrap this up?
Yossi, I'm just here to support you, brother. No, we you know,
You
I guess to wrap
sound
up,
like
you know, the whole
you're a little bit shy.
yeah, yeah. little shy, Dennis.
If only you knew.
You know, my
I was going to say there might be some sarcasm in there. Even though I don't know Tony
yeah,
personally.
you know, yeah, you know, Janai has kind of followed my shenanigans for probably, I don't know, a few years at least now.
Lightly, I will
Several years.
say. Lightly. I have no
Okay.
idea really.
Okay, yeah, perfect. No sarcasm there. Yeah, you know, I'll just kind of wrap it up, I guess. You know, with from since I was born, I had it really rough. You know, grew up you know, kind of getting slaved away and abused in many different ways, and was on, you know, always had no direction, ever. And you know, I'm actually really grateful for that, because you know, now I get to kind of pave my own way. Um, Everything I've ever learned was self-taught, obviously from others, but I just take a little bit from everywhere and use my discernment. And you know, been on the truther movement for a long time, and everything from, let's see, kind of started with like 9/11, and then, you know, I was one of the flat earthers, and then I was like a concave earther, and then I'm like, you know, it's just a matrix. Like it's only up to your level of perception that you're gonna find new truth. And then as as you raise your frequency, you know, you go from truther to Neil. I mean, who am I even talking to right now? Right? I'm probably just talking to myself. I'm probably just talking to you know, a mirror. But yeah, I grew up in a really pretty difficult life. Always, they said more on the intelligent side. I don't know how much I believe that, but you know, just paved my own way and caused some havoc in my own life and others' lives. and I'm just at a point now where, as I work through my healing, and we look at the the concept of micro and macro, and as above so below, as within so without, as I work on my healing, I feel like we can expand upon that and heal the world. So I think because I found that the desire to do that within myself, that created the desire to do that with the mirror, and with the collective. So I guess that would pretty much sum it up. To not go into detail, which nobody really wants to go into that much detail. So yeah, it just came from shit, and I want to prevent that in in my reflection.
Yeah, I'm all about going into the details, bro. So I am very appreciative for you, because you really do you provide that counterweight, and you keep me in check, not let me reveal too much of the sauce. So thank
The
you.
sauce.
Thanks for helping us. You've really gone out of your way, Tony. There is one thing I have to say about your intelligence specifically, brother. You are able to pick out the experts in every single field and make it so that we can actually provide an A to Z service for people, so that we can bring their dreams into fruition. And for that, if that's your lane, you just made the whole thing work. So thank you, brother. I genuinely respect you and appreciate you. And, I couldn't do this without you. So blessings.
Well, brother, that is mutual. I appreciate you saying that, and it is reciprocated, as well as to the rest of our team, and any future partners or help that we can get. I know that the not only people that are the best in their field, but the people who have aligned with their heart, um, we will find the best of all of that. They find, not by seeking, but just by if you call it the desire to do so, or just simply aligning ourselves, and then finding those that also align with that alignment.
They find us.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking. They find us. They have been finding us, brother. And that started with one. And I definitely look forward to putting all of this together and really streamlining it, and being able to bring anybody in, whether you're counting your pennies, or you already have a trust, or if you don't need, we do the A to Z. So wherever you are in your path, I just want to be able to take whoever it is. We find that the realizing your dreams, bring you in. You can be completely lost, and I don't care who you are. I don't care about your past. I don't care what you've done. I don't care. Let's find the love again, and let's edify, and let's get you on your journey to your maximum potential as an individual, because as we do that, we create the maximum potential for the collective, and we can create peace on earth again. We can get rid of war. We can get rid of famine and hunger, and all sorts of types of poverty. We can get rid of the lower frequency emotions. We can get rid of the hate and the feel of lack and greed, and um I really feel in my heart, brother, that we are going to change the world. So I'm looking forward to it, and I
It.
appreciate you and everybody on this call.
Yep, you know it.
Very much. I'd say you're probably changing it right now more than you think,
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
every person, each one teach one. That's where we're at right now. And we are all the Godhead in disguise.
That's right. Cool.
So
Thanks.
yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thanks for sharing.
Really
Appreciate it.
really appreciate this call. It's been a great call, and I'm glad we've gotten to dial in. Not only some of the technical stuff, but we've also gotten to really drill into some of the deeper stuff, the more meaningful stuff. So
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
It's been a good call.
Sweet dreams. Nighty night.
See you all
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yep. Thank you guys.
I'll be
Peace and
there.
love. We'll talk soon.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Not a problem.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.